On this episode of Lex OC, we're going to talk about Daftarian Group's recent success stories and how they continue to shape the market and break records. Joining us today is listing agent Paul Daftarian, who's going to share details about the strategic pricing and marketing that helps break these sales records. Let's dive into the details. I'm here with listing agent Paul Daftarian, and we are at 70 Golden Eagle in Shady Canyon. The last time we were here filming, it was a special episode of Lex OC coming soon, and we were giving a sneak peek to everyone of this beautiful listing before it hit the market. And guess what? Now we're filming and it's sold, just like that. So we have to talk about these records that we are breaking. It is amazing in this market. I want all the details. How did you guys come up with the pricing? What's your secret? What's the special sauce? Let's give it to us.
Time out. We don't want to spoiler alert it, but really, believe it or not, it wasn't what was happening in this particular neighborhood that really gave us the insight on how to price this one appropriately. What we did was take a look and really come off a few record sales that we had in similar neighborhoods or communities that were adjacent, or I wouldn't want to say competing, but close in proximity, like Pelican Crest or Crystal Cove or Newport Coast in general, which a lot of buyers kind of go back and forth between depending on what kind of views they want. But really, we just came off of selling 38 Pelican Crest and 1 Shore Ridge for about $2,000 to $3,000 a square foot, which were great, notable, and record-breaking sales. And it kind of dawned on us, how come homes in Shady Canyon are only selling for about $1,000 to $1,200 a square foot on average? The highest price per square foot records sale ever, and it was a 1-story, smaller property, sold in the $1,400 a square foot range. And this particular property, 70 Golden Eagles, gonna trade almost at $1,540 a square foot when it closes, which is scheduled to close in a couple days. So we are so excited for our clients. But to answer your question earlier, Lily, you asked what was the secret sauce or what was the formula? We knew what buyers were willing to pay in these other competing neighborhoods. We felt like the neighborhood here, Shady Canyon, is underpriced, and this was a great property to show what could be done as far as buyer desirability. And the owner here let us not only use some of their furniture, but stage the house, do the landscaping. They did their own remodel, but we really made it as turnkey and kind of that transitional remodel that a lot of people want these days. This was a showcase property for the neighborhood, and it's on a good lot, great lot, and it's got a great view, right? So it's got all the components of kind of a record breaker. We spoke with the owner. They had interviewed a bunch of agents. They had pricing all over the place from like 11 to 15 million. We priced it at right under 14 million, and we sold it in 21 days. The owner's target was really closer to like an $11 million price point, and this is closing at $12,890,000, so almost $13 million. It's about $1 million more than I think the owner thought that they would get, and not this quickly either. They were very reasonable sellers, but we kind of pushed them to kind of help us break the price ceiling on that price per square foot. And again, the data that we came with was, if you want to go buy a home right outside Shady Canyon and you want to look at some of these custom home sites, they're not just 20, 30% more, they're double or triple almost. So with that sense of that happening in the surrounding neighborhoods, it should organically bring up the prices if the right properties hit the market.
Well, I mean, this is truly a special lot. I mean, the views of the golf course,
upstairs you have city lights.
I mean, it's a beautiful corner lot and it's massive. So I'm really happy that it sold as quickly as it did. But again, where are these buyers coming from? So how do we do it?
So we launched a local and national and global marketing campaign. We did the right photography. We did multiple different types of videos, different types of social media, short clips, and we really just had a huge outpour during our broker preview. I mean, there was pre-marketing that we did that people are trying to get in the house right away. So another tactic we used was we didn't let anyone really see the house until we were ready to go live with it, kind of like an unveiling, right? So it created a lot of buyer demand.
Yes,
we knew it creates the buzz. We knew that we wanted to make it look turnkey. The owner, again, trusted us to let us, along with their help, make the house kind of almost feel flawless. Even though every inch of the house isn't brand new, a lot of it was touched up, from restoration hardware lighting, to window treatments, to landscaping, to just the overall feel and cleanliness, and just every room being staged. When we were about to list this property, there wasn't a lot of outdoor furniture, and there's some rooms that were furnished and unfurnished. So they let us come in with our staging team and make the house look complete. So that was a big component.
Yeah.
Then there was the pre-marketing and marketing. And then what we did is we didn't let anyone really see it off market. We just kind of unveiled it all at the same time to the public market. So we got multiple interested buyers.
Yes.
We received multiple offers, and we of course chose the highest and best offer, which in this case was a cash offer. So we didn't have to deal with things like loan or appraisal contingencies. And then, we obviously sailed through, and in a matter of 21 days, we found the right buyer. And lo and behold, it was a buyer kind of that we already knew and their agent that we had a relationship with. So all that kind of really played into it. So our plan really kind of was executed, and I think the end result speaks for itself.
Well, what do we have to say? I mean, that's a big, strong message right there. I mean, this market is changing. What do we have to say to these sellers who are on the fence of listing their home? And,
so it's funny.
I mean, they don't know that these buyers exist. They feel like, oh, I don't know if this is the right time to list my house.
Yeah,
What do you have to say to them?
Well, that's a great question. If you don't see yourself living in your house right now, or you want to move, this could be the best time that I've ever seen in my lifetime. Forget like the last couple years. There's the least amount of inventory. Rates have doubled. You would think buyer interest would diminish, and it's quite the opposite. There's so little inventory, right? They always say about real estate, supply versus demand, right? Even though supply is diminished, buyer demand has dropped a little bit, but it still far exceeds what's available. So you're going into these neighborhoods, and people are looking at neighborhoods they weren't looking at before. So if somebody says, I have to be in, let's say, Newport Coast or Crystal Cove, then they go, okay, there's nothing for sale there. Let me look at, for example, a Shady Canyon. We come in and say, look, there's no reason why the neighborhood is as undervalued as it is, but listen to our advice. Let us manage the process of creating more of a turnkey property in a community that isn't full of brand new properties, to kind of create that allure or the presentation of a turnkey home. And that's really the formula that gets these record-setting prices, just like we did with this one. And for example, the last one over at One Shore Ridge, it's got to feel totally move-in ready. And that's really, I think, where a good, kind of perspective on the right advice is going to make all the difference.
I think that's it. I think expert advice. You're like, just let us do our job and we'll get it done for you.
Yeah, I want to say one more thing too. People are saying, look, if I hold on to my house, it's just going to keep on going up in value. Of course, right? 10, 20, 30 years from now. But this window of opportunity, there's homes that are selling for 20, 30% higher today from even a year ago. And that's really what owners need to ask us our opinion and say, does my house qualify as one of those homes that is this 10, 20, 30% increase just from a year ago, let alone maybe double from a few years ago? It might not be, right? If you've got a 10,000 square foot, 3-story estate that needs to be completely renovated, that doesn't have a view, it might not be the home that doubled or tripled in value, or has that big increase. And it might be if maybe with a few tweaks and adjustments. So that's really where consulting with us, having us give you the right advice. There's no accident that these last, I would say 70, 80% of our sales have been record breakers, and in some case record smashers, because it's that perfect time of the market where buyers are stressed, they're not finding what they want, they're willing to pay more if you give them what they want and what they need.
Well, this is really exciting, and I think it gives a lot of these sellers hope that there are buyers out there. And again, just trust the experts and let us do our job, and we're going to break records, continue to break records.
You heard it from Lily. She knows best. So,
well, I'm excited for the next one. I can't wait. I know it's going to happen sooner than later. So,
yeah, we're gonna talk about, actually we do have a couple things brewing in this neighborhood. We are really proud of a lot of the work that we've done in all these separate communities all throughout coastal Orange County, let alone be like neighborhoods like Newport Beach, Corona Del Mar, Newport Coast, Crystal Cove, even in our own backyard in CDM where our office is. And really what we've done is say, look, let us guide you in the right direction to kind of, if that record sale, that fast sale with the multiple options of buyers. Here's another thing too, it's not always about price, right? A lot of people don't want to be on the market for 6, 9, or 12 months. While your house is for sale, your life's kind of on hold. So getting to be able to sell for top dollar and very quickly, like in this case, 21 days, gives you a sense of control, so you know what your next move is, so you have less stress, right? the other thing too is the person that bought the house wanted everything to be perfect. Right before we got here, our whole team was kind of helping kind of repair things. We were managing the process. Right. We really kind of bring
getting it
moving ready for the buyer on their checklist of repairs and wishes. And really that our white glove service kind of handles all that. Our clients aren't even living in the house that own it, and they're not even living in the county. So they're kind of trusting us that we manage this whole process. And so we'll see what that review looks like at the end from them, the client testimonial, which is what we love. But my point was that there's a lot of neighborhoods that were not the immediate first, like, hey, this is where the majority of the buyers want to live, that are these maybe other options that have been undervalued. And that's where we see the most opportunity in the market. Whether it's a Shady Canyon or another neighborhood, there's no reason why homes should be selling for less than replacement value. And that's really what we want to be, is continue to be the ambassadors for these communities so that the prices aren't being sold for less than they should be. You know, it's I think important to realize that some neighborhoods are selling for outrageous prices, you know, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a square foot, and we've even seen some like in North Laguna Beach sell for $8,000 a square foot. And location plays a key factor in that, right? But big estates like this in Shady Canyon, or even homes like in Turtle Ridge, shouldn't be selling for less than non-view properties in certain parts of Newport Beach, right? So I think it's drawing the audience here of knowing what can be done. And this is a perfect palette and template of this older European style home that has been modernized to this more transitional feel. The feedback on this property was people were blown away with how bright and open it was, how modernized it was. A lot of it was just color and finishes and lighting, right? And how it felt and staging, of course. And it felt like it was a move-in ready property. Yeah. I think that's really where the right advice comes in. We see a lot of homes list and they're just not selling. And it's because people walk in and they go, man, I gotta spend this crazy money. It's unprecedented, these prices, and I gotta deal with a massive remodel. I don't wanna do it, and that's why those homes are sitting. Right? So that's where the consultative approach, it's either gotta be presentation, price, or a combination of the two. And then you let us listing agents, the Daftarian Group, kind of do what we do best, which is market these, capture the biggest group of buyers. And really, one thing I do wanna say too, when you look at the record leading prices in all these different communities, it's continually set by local listing agents. Whether it's not us, it's the fellow agents and fellow competing, on a competitive basis, friendly competition, other agents. It's time and time again, it's these local experts, because you have to understand, if somebody's moving from, let's say, Harbor Ridge to Shady Canyon, you have to understand kind of why they're moving, what they're looking for. A lot of people kind of moving out of the area don't have the same sense of kind of what the locals want, so you have to kind of appeal to both markets, the out-of-towners and the locals, and that's going to take a local expert.
Right, no, absolutely. And these are amazing details. This is phenomenal information that you have to share. And I think it all goes back to trusting the experts. It's a great time to sell. There is buyers out there. And I think the Daftarian Group, the secret sauce is the unveiling of a property, getting it perfectly ready. So when that buyer walks in, first impression is everything. They are ready 100%. To sign the contract and buy the house.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself, Lily.
Thank you for joining me on this special episode of Lex OC. Records are meant to be broken, even when you set them, and that's a Daftarian Group difference. We'll see you at the next one.